The all-new Toyota Prius promises remarkably impressive fuel economy numbers, whether you're on the highway or driving around in the city. But do those numbers translate here in the real world? Tonight we find out. Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor. And today we've got the real-world highway fuel economy test on the 2023 Toyota Prius. In this test, we're going to head out on the highway and do 50 miles out and 50 miles back, averaging 70 miles per hour, to get you a realistic fuel economy number for this small car. And before we get started, let's hop out and take a look at it. Now, we just had the Prius Prime, and now we've got the normal gasoline Prius. And you know what? I'm optimistic for this one. Even though it is the limited trim, so it doesn't get quite as impressive fuel economy as one of the more base models with smaller wheels and a more aerodynamic wheel in general, this still is, I think it stands to do really well. Theoretically, it could be the most fuel-efficient gasoline car we've ever tested. I don't think we're going to get that. I think the Jetta is still going to hold that crown, but I'm totally fine with being surprised. If you do want to see more on the car or the Prius Prime, check the link below. We've got a ton of coverage, the JBL sound system, the basic sound system, infotainment breakdowns, full reviews. It'll all be linked below. So why do we do this test? Well, the EPA's highway fuel economy test, which gives this Prius 52 miles per gallon, that test only averages 48 miles per hour. We know there are plenty of people who want to put big miles on their car and would like to know what sort of numbers you can realistically expect here in the real world. So in order to do that, we're going to head over to the gas station here, fill up, go out and do 100 miles, come back, fill up at the same pump using the same 3-click fueling method, and get a result. Now, a few things to note for tonight. Outside temperature is currently 51 degrees Fahrenheit, so a little bit chilly for a hybrid vehicle. Hybrids don't typically do quite as well in the real world. Hey, that guy's got a Spectre. Very nice. Anyway, hybrids typically don't do quite as well in colder weather as they do in warmer weather, and we are going to be running the climate control at 73 degrees auto, so the car will have to provide a little bit of heat, but it'll be making that heat fully from the engine as well, so that shouldn't be a big deal. And our tire pressures have been set to the door placard 35 psi front and 33 psi rear. We ended up putting in 1.152 gallons, and before getting started here, we're going to reset the car's trip computer, the fuel economy average, and our GPS, and we're ready to begin. And we do have a few different drive modes here in the Prius. We have normal, eco, and sport. We're going to run this test in eco. Get our climate control going here. Now, the goal of this test isn't to hypermile. We're not trying to get the best possible fuel economy for this car, but rather a realistic figure if you need to go out and do highway driving. A lot of people love to chime into hybrid tests and say, oh, well, you should be testing it in the city because hybrids do better in the city than they do on the highway. Yeah, but that doesn't change the fact that if you need to get somewhere a long way away, you're gonna take the highway. My wife commutes on the highway to work because that's the fastest way to get to her office, not because she has a vehicle that's more efficient on the highway, so therefore she's gonna take it. So all that's to say, the goal here is to get a realistic number. So in order to do that, we're going to get up to highway speed here and set our cruise control at a GPS indicated 71 miles per hour, which on a Toyota means having to set about another extra mile per hour high. And that should give us about an average of 70 miles per hour over the whole test. Traffic is thinning out a little bit here later on in the evening tonight, so we should be able to get a pretty clean run. Let's resume our 73 miles per hour there, and off we go. Let's get these sunshades closed. When we tested the Prius Prime, I thought to myself, it's really loud in here. Now, mind you, this is a concrete section of highway, so it's going to be on the louder side, but we do this route with all of our vehicles here that we test, and so I noticed it was loud. So I reached out to one of my colleagues at Car and Driver magazine, because they actually do the best sound testing, interior volume testing of anyone else on the market. They do it at the same strip of road at their testing facilities, and they use a very high-end piece of equipment, and they standardize that across all the cars that they test. So I was able to reach out to this person, and I said, hey, could you give me the sound levels for the Prius and the Prius Prime? And he said that both of them were measured at 71 decibels. And I said, all right, well, obviously I need some frame of reference for that. Could you please let me know what the most recent Accord touring hybrid that you tested was? And he said 69 decibels. So, a few decibels, that's fairly significant because they're logarithmic. A few decibels doesn't sound like much, but it does kind of verify the fact that I thought the Prius seems kind of loud, because it is a little on the loud side. All of that is to say, we are going to settle in here and cruise for the next 100 miles, get back and see what our numbers are, and I'll catch up with you at the end. In the meantime, enjoy this time lapse of the entire trip. Coming into the end of the highway fuel economy test here in the Prius Limited. Well, according to the vehicle's trip readout, 44.3 miles per gallon. A good bit below that EPA number, but still a strong figure. It's nothing earth-shattering. It's pretty good for a smaller kind of aerodynamic sedan like this. It is possible we're running on winter blend fuel, and that coupled with the little bit colder temps, 51. I don't know. I guess I'm trying to find reasons, legitimate reasons why we'd be so far off of EPA. I mean, in general, hybrids just don't do as well at these steady state tire speed tests, but it's still important for you to know that if you're going to be expecting to get a Prius and then go and drive it at 70 miles per hour on the highway and thinking that you're going to get the advertised 52 MPG. I will also point out that we did get slowed down fairly dramatically down going in toward north of San Diego. The traffic had to merge, two of the lanes closed and had to go all the way down to 2 lanes, and it slowed down to a stop for a little bit. So our average speed is down to 68 miles per hour. I still think we averaged it out decently, but if anything, that would help the hybrid. And so this 44 miles per gallon should, in theory, be even a little optimistic. However, I will also point out that the vehicle's trip computer is, or at least the tripometer, is more than 2 miles short after 100 miles. So maybe if it's using that figure in its calculation for fuel economy, it might bump back up once we get to the pump. So all that is to say, we're going to get it back to the pump, fill it up, see what our final number is. But in terms of other comfort, I still don't love the general visibility in the new Prius. These long, thick A-pillars and the general low roofline makes it so you're really having to check your blind spots. They're pretty large blind spots in this car. Seat comfort seems good. Got that adjustable lumbar, that's nice. The active lane keeping works great, as well as the adaptive cruise control. But yeah, we're going to get it back to the pump here and see what our final number is. 2.206 gallons going in for our final fill. 100 miles traveled on the dot divided by I can barely see out of this car. 206. It's given us 45.3 miles per gallon, so rounding down to 45. Again, still a strong number, but nothing earth-shattering here in this limited trim. Now, maybe with, like I said, one of the more basic trims that gets even better fuel economy according to the EPA, you might be able to squeeze out that 50 mile per gallon figure. We've got an 11.3 gallon fuel tank in here, so 11.3 gallons times 45 miles per gallon. It's giving you an effective highway cruising range of 500 miles here in the Prius Limited for 2023. What do you all think? I mean, is that worth sacrificing all this space? I say no. I would rather just get something like a RAV4 or hybrid and have all that extra room and the upright seating position. And yeah, you'd be getting mid-30s on the highway, but, you know, that's just me, though. In fact, actually, what I would rather have is I would just rather have a Camry with the 2.5 liter naturally aspirated engine, or, you know, the 2.5 plus the hybrid, and be getting just about the same miles per gallon figures and be in a much bigger car. But hey, at least the Prius exists. It looks cool. It's got some good tech, and yeah, if you want it, go get it. If you can find one, that is. So thank you all so much for watching. If you do want to see more on the Prius, check the link below, and we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.